took my son. My driving partner.
The family of Michael Hunter returned to the scene where he was killed Saturday night.
He was, like everybody say, a provider. Whatever you called, he was there. I thought he was gonna see me graduate and walk the stage. Michael meant everything to me. Michael was my heart, my soul.
Michael Hunter, a 36-year-old father of three and long-haul driver for UPS, was shot dead on the night of March 19, 2023, in Chicago's Auburn Gresham neighborhood. The controversy surrounding his case isn't just about his tragic death. It's about the lack of answers, the silence of witnesses, and the slow pace of the investigation. His family, desperate for justice, is left wondering, why was he killed? Who did it? And why hasn't anyone spoken out? The incident unfolded around 12:30 a.m. when Michael was searching for his stolen truck. The vehicle had been taken earlier that evening, and Michael, in a desperate attempt to recover it, was asking people in the neighborhood for help. He wasn't a criminal. He wasn't causing trouble. He was simply trying to retrieve what had been stolen from him. But this routine search for a stolen truck ended with Michael's life being cut short. Shot in the head, Michael was found dead at the scene. The most controversial aspect of this case is the complete lack of witnesses coming forward. Despite the fact that multiple people were likely in the area, no one has stepped up to help authorities. This raises several questions. Why is the community silent? Are people too afraid to speak out? In Chicago, especially in neighborhoods like Auburn Gresham, fear of retaliation often keeps witnesses from cooperating with law enforcement. Is that what's happening here? The police investigation has hit a wall. Even with a $10,000 reward offered by Michael's family for any information leading to an arrest, there have been no arrests and no new leads have emerged. The community has shown its frustration, wondering how a case so visible and tragic can remain unsolved for so long. Is there a lack of resources? Or is it simply that no one wants to talk? Hunter's family, including his fiancée, Ryan Mitchell, is demanding answers. They are not just mourning the loss of Michael, but are struggling to understand why this happened. What exactly went down that night? Was this a random act of violence, or was Michael targeted for something more? The lack of clarity only adds to the growing frustration. The police have not made any major breakthroughs in the case, and there are no confirmed details about suspects. The situation remains shrouded in mystery. Michael Hunter was simply trying to get back what was his. Yet, instead of justice, his family is left in the dark, waiting for answers that may never come. The police report states that Michael was shot in the head, and by the time officers arrived at the scene, it was already too late. His body was found lying on the street, a life taken far too soon. But the most shocking detail that has emerged is the lack of clarity around what led up to the killing. There is no clear motive, and the circumstances remain shrouded in uncertainty. Michael was simply a man who went out to search for his stolen vehicle, something he needed to make a living. But now he's dead, and the question remains, why? His fiancée, Ryan Mitchell, has been vocal in the media, expressing her heartbreak and confusion. She, along with Michael's family, is devastated by his death. But there's more than just grief in their hearts. There's also a growing sense of frustration. Why hasn't anyone come forward? Why is there no one willing to help solve this case?
Michael was my heart, my soul. He was the provider, the protector of my household. My son is fatherless. Michael did not deserve this. He picked me up from school. He took me shopping. He was there for me. He was the father figure that I never got to enjoy.
It's not just the silence of the witnesses that's concerning. It's the lack of progress in the investigation. The police haven't made any significant headway, and the longer the case drags on, the more people start to question the effectiveness of the investigation. Could the police be overlooking key evidence, or is the investigation simply not being prioritized? Why is this case not getting the attention it deserves? Despite the reward being offered and despite the public outcry for justice, the investigation has stalled. The community is now left wondering whether Michael's death will become just another statistic in a city that has seen too many similar tragedies. It raises an uncomfortable truth. What happens when people are afraid to speak up? The Auburn Gresham area, where Michael was killed, is no stranger to crime. With its struggles around poverty and crime, It's a place where people often feel they have little voice. This sense of powerlessness can breed fear, and fear can silence even those who have information that could bring justice. Is this the root cause of the silence surrounding Michael's death? Many are asking whether Michael was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, or if he uncovered something that he wasn't supposed to. Could there have been more behind the shooting than just a routine search for a stolen vehicle? Was there a deeper connection between Michael and the people in the neighborhood? As more details remain hidden, there's a growing suspicion that Michael may have been caught up in something much larger than he ever anticipated. Was his death truly a random act of violence? Or was he murdered for something he didn't even know he was involved in? These are the questions that keep his family and loved ones awake at night, hoping for any kind of resolution. In an effort to get justice, Michael's family has been vocal on social media, pleading for anyone with information to come forward. The $10,000 reward may be a generous offer, but it's also a reflection of just how desperately they need answers. But so far, despite the reward and the media coverage, no one has stepped forward to provide the crucial piece of information that could help solve the case. This raises even more disturbing questions. Is the reward not enough to motivate people to talk? Are people so afraid of retaliation that they'd rather keep quiet, even when someone's life is on the line? The silence in the community is deafening, and it's starting to feel like the murder of Michael Hunter is becoming a cold case, buried under layers of fear and hesitation. How much longer will Michael's family have to wait for answers? How many more tragedies like this will go unsolved before the cycle of violence and fear is broken? And what about the people who were there the night Michael was killed? Are they out there, knowing exactly what happened but refusing to speak? The community is starting to ask these difficult questions, and it's clear that the demand for justice will only grow louder. As the case lingers in legal limbo, Michael's family is left in a state of uncertainty. They want justice, they want closure, and they want to know that their loved one didn't die in vain. But for now, all they have are more questions than answers, and the shocking silence surrounding his death only makes those questions harder to answer. As the days drag on, the frustration continues to mount. Michael's family, his fiancée Ryan, his children, his parents, are forced to live in a state of limbo, constantly wondering if they'll ever get the answers they so desperately need. The investigation has been moving at a painfully slow pace, and it seems that the more time passes, the more the case falls into the background. The people who could provide crucial information are still silent, leaving Michael's loved ones to wonder, what's holding them back? Is it fear? Could someone be so terrified of the consequences of speaking out that they're willing to let an innocent man's death go unanswered? Or could there be something more? Some suspect that there may be more to the story. Something hidden beneath the surface. Something that no one is willing to expose. But the longer the investigation goes on without leads, the more questions arise about the true nature of Michael's death. Was Michael really just in the wrong place at the wrong time? Or could there be a deeper motive at play? What if his search for his stolen truck had uncovered something that made him a target? The neighborhood where he was killed is no stranger to crime. But does that mean his death was just another statistic? Some people in the community are beginning to wonder whether Michael may have been involved in something far more dangerous than a simple case of stolen property. Could he have been mixed up in something bigger than anyone realized? The police have not been forthcoming with details on potential suspects, which only adds to the confusion. Why have there been no significant arrests or leads? Is it a case of lack of evidence, or are there factors behind the scenes that are hindering the investigation? There's also the question of how much attention this case is truly getting from law enforcement. With so many unsolved murders in Chicago, it's easy for cases to slip through the cracks, especially those involving neighborhoods with high crime rates, where resources are often stretched thin. Then, there's the role of the community. Why are people in the neighborhood so reluctant to speak? Is it simply fear of retaliation, or is it something more systemic? Could the silence be a symptom of a larger issue, one that's deeply rooted in the culture of violence and mistrust between the police and certain communities? We've seen this before in cities across the country, where the fear of law enforcement is so strong that it prevents people from stepping forward, even when lives are at stake. Michael's fiancée Ryan and his family have made it clear that they will not rest until they get justice. But as each day passes without any answers, the feeling of hopelessness starts to creep in. The silence is deafening, and and the more the investigation lingers, the harder it becomes to hold on to hope. The $10,000 reward hasn't yielded any leads, and the people who could help solve this case continue to stay quiet. It's not just a murder of Michael Hunter that has left his family and the community grieving, but the fear and uncertainty that comes with a case like this, a case that seems destined to go unsolved. As the weeks turn into months, one question remains. Will the truth ever come out? What if the silence continues? What if the people who know what happened to Michael are never held accountable? It's a terrifying thought, and it's one that Michael's family is forced to live with every single day. They want answers. They want justice. They want to know that their loved one didn't die for nothing. But as the case grows colder, it's becoming clear that getting the truth may be the hardest part of all. What happened to Michael Hunter that night? Was it truly a random act of violence? Or was there something else behind it? Who was responsible for his death? And why hasn't anyone come forward to help solve this case? As the investigation drags on with no resolution, the hope for justice starts to fade. But Michael's family will not give up. They will continue to push for the truth, no matter how long it takes. And so, the search for answers continues, waiting for anyone, to speak up and bring the truth to light.